K Sports Sunday. Alongside me is Jake Saltzman, and we welcome in from the Boston Sports Desk, Mark Harriman and Kevin Harriman. How are you guys doing today?
Great. Thanks for having us.
We're going to start off talking about the Pawtucket Red Sox. Are there any good up-and-coming prospects that we could look forward to seeing in the future?
Well, you're seeing half of them on the Boston roster right now.
Yeah, by default.
Yeah. Daniel Nava was a great story. He has been cut from various teams, but he's always come back and hit. And he's proven that by batting .300 for over a month now up in Boston. Darnell McDonald is another great story, a journeyman who has been out there on several different teams. He gets up there and he hits. He's done very, very well. He saw the bunt last night, 2 bunts last night. You know, it would help him win that game. As far as pitching go, Michael Bowden was called up today, so they're putting him in the bullpen to.
And he pitched today.
He pitched well.
1-2-3 inning.
Yeah. Yeah. Rather than make a trade, you know, they actually had Michael Bowden there, so he's out there and plying his trade in the bullpen now.
Yeah, I've had a question about pitchers and how it works when they either get called up or get sent down. A lot of times you'll have a guy who's starting in Pawtucket AAA come up. He'll be in the bullpen. He'll either be a setup man, he'll be a long reliever. If a guy comes down and he's a reliever, does he automatically become a starter just because he has major league experience, or does he go with the role that he's most comfortable in the major leagues? Does he become a reliever?
He goes with whatever the team wants him to do. Michael Bolden was a starter, and 3 weeks ago, I think, Theo Epstein and the staff called down to Pawtucket and said, we need help in the bullpen. So at that point in time, they got him ready to do bullpen work. So he's already made the transition from starter to the bullpen, and it's kind of what the team needs. Papelbon was supposed to be a starter when he came.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of need and what you have left on the farm system.
All right, we're going to move into the Red Sox now. They lost 4-2 today to the Texas Rangers. Kunal Singh, who was with us earlier, was at the game, and his dad caught a ball, which is pretty cool. The Red Sox have lost 7 of the last 10 games. Are we starting to see the Red Sox injuries getting to them?
You are. Water seeks its own level, and you can only plug so many holes. The Red Sox have just been riddled with injuries this year, as you all know, and you can only keep that up for so long. You're going to expose yourself with these fill-in players. You know, can Daniel Nava hit .300 for the rest of the season? You don't know. Can Darnell McDonald was up to .286 at one point. Now he's down in the .250s, .260s. So the more you get exposed, you know, the more the other team is going to take advantage of it, and you're starting to see it. It's going to be a question.
Yeah, but it's a remarkable story. Coming into the season, you wouldn't have thought that this would play out and the Red Sox would still be in contention. To have that many people get called up from Pawtucket and still only be, I think we're 6.5 games out of first place now, in the middle of July is kind of phenomenal.
Especially in such a tough division.
Sure.
You've got 3 teams vying for 2 playoff spots. And one of the 3, the Red Sox, Tampa, or New York, isn't going to make it. And right now, it looks like the Yankees are pretty much a lock at this point. And it's down between Tampa and the Red Sox to who fills that wild card spot. The only hope the Red Sox have at this point is to get healthy quick, and see what they can do when the whole team gets back. But as Mark said, I mean, how much more can these guys give you that they haven't already given you? And you've got the whole issue with the bullpen right now. Some of the names they're calling out of the bullpen I've never heard of, and they got Del Carmen back yesterday. That'll help a little bit, but they're thin.
Yeah, and you think it continues to get worse before it gets better? They're heading out west now. They'll take on Oakland next. Oakland's a team that can pose a threat, not a high offensive weapon, but some good young players. They're going to play spoiler yet again come October. What can the Red Sox expect from a really chaotic 14 division in the American League West? Seattle gave the Yankees all sorts of trouble before the break. What can the Red Sox expect as they head west?
Well, it's tough enough to go on a road trip yourself. You know, it's proven that, you know, if you do 500 on a road trip, you're doing pretty well. So to get out there in the situation that they're in, it's going to be even tougher. You know, people are going to want to be a spoiler. They're going to want to throw a lot at the Red Sox. They always do. They bang out their ballparks because the Red Sox are there, and they want to beat them. So So it's going to be interesting as you see the deadline, the trading deadline of July 31st come forward. You know, as the Red Sox start to position themselves, Mike Lowell, he's going to do a rehab start in Pawtucket this Thursday. It might be a little more after that. So, you know, Lowell might be trade bait. Yeah. And so you may not see some of these guys come right back off.
This is happening, I think, at the worst possible time for the Red Sox to go out west. You're 6.5 games out of first place going into it. You've got 10 games in 12 days.
Yeah, it's a busy schedule.
It's phenomenal what they're going to be facing. It's the longest road trip that they have of the year. And you're potentially looking at a good road trip of 5-5. What's that mean when you come back?
Right.
Now are you 9.5 games out of first place? I mean, the potential for right now, for the next 12 days, could make or break this whole season.
And it certainly doesn't seem like the kind of road trip where it's, you know, it's good to get away for a while. One, because this isn't a little while, this is a lengthy road trip. And two, the Red Sox are so beat up, so, you know, so hurt, and they haven't had a whole lot of success of late against Oakland, against Seattle.
No, not at all. And you're looking at a team, like as you said, that is beat up. Right now, we had, what, our 4th catcher of the year start yesterday, Dusty Baker. So we're at number 4 there. The outfield, if you said at the beginning of the year you're going to have an outfield of Darnell McDonald and Daniel Nava and Bill Hall filling in, it's phenomenal that they're even where they're at. So,
and think about this: on July 2nd, they were a half game out. You know, if they were going to tank, they really should have you know, tanked back in June, as everyone happened. But Kevin was right; they're a remarkable story.
And right now, I went into this year thinking that this team was going to fall flat in its face. That run prevention, pitching, great. That's all well and good. But I didn't see the team constructed to win the American League East.
And now they're leading the majors in
run production.
Yeah.
So this team has been completely opposite of whatever you thought they were going to be. They're banging the ball, they're scoring runs up until lately, and the pitching and the defense wasn't there. They had a third baseman that was first in the league in errors. They weren't playing good fundamental baseball, but they're still in it. It says a lot about the farm system and what they've been able to bring up from Pawtucket to offset what's going on at the major league level. So.
You talked about trade deadlines coming up, and obviously Theo Epstein, Red Sox management, big into building from within, building from the farm system. Do you see a guy who's Tug Hewitt, for example, has not had a good offensive year for Pawtucket?
No, he's not.
But he has some power, maybe a change of scenery. He has enough major league experience to maybe be a guy off of the bench another major league team might want. Look at Chris Carter, what he's doing with the Mets. He's been a pleasant surprise pinch hitting for them this year. Do you see the Red Sox willing to part with some of the pieces in their farm system come the trade deadline, or do you think they're going to stick solely to dealing within the major leagues?
They could, but they're not going to get much for them. You know, if Lars Anderson had a really good, solid year coming up from Portland, you know, he could be some really good trade bait. However, at one point he was 0 for 36 this year. He's still batting in the low 200s. He's not below the Mendoza line, but he's the guy who takes time to make an adjustment at every spot, in every level he's gone. So I think he's going through that adjustment right now. So there's not a lot of richness on that farm team. It's usually at the AA level, like Casey Kelly.
Yeah. I think that Theo Epstein and their staff's going to have to make a decision after this road trip to see exactly where they are and if they can make a run. I believe that if, in their heart, if they say we can do it, then they may have to unload some good prospects, because you've got now the Red Sox, Tampa, New York, all that are going to be probably overpaying for people on the last legs of the final year of their contract, potential free agents, rent-a players, the veterans that they can come in for pitch hitting, for stealing bases, for whatever it's going to be. So I think that the Red Sox will overpay if they think they've got a shot at a playoff, and if they don't, I think they're going to cut their losses, hold on to the farm system, and 2011 is not that far away.
Yeah.
All right, that's going to wrap up the second segment. When we come back, we're going to have an interview with Kevin and Mark, and we'll talk about blogging and the importance in the sports world. Don't go anywhere.